What to do if the police say they smell weed in your car?
You have the right to remain silent! Let me shut.
My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Every week we get a couple of these in the door. They come in, they call. It's people that are driving down the street, they get stopped, the police officer comes up to them, license, registration, gets to that. He's looking around. That's what they're going to do. When they come up to you, they stop you, they walk up, they're looking in your vehicle, looking to see what you might have, if there's anything in plain sight. Magic phrase, in plain sight. If you have something in plain sight that you shouldn't have, your marijuana pipe, vape pens, things like that are starting to be questionable. Some judges, just the presence of a vape pen, based on the officer's training and experience, means that you're doing something wrong. And that leads to some follow-up. But then the officer comes out with that magic phrase, I smell marijuana. I detected the odor of marijuana. As I approached the car, I detected the faint odor of marijuana. When I was speaking with the suspect, I detected the odor of marijuana. When I was speaking with the driver, I smelled what appeared to be marijuana. They're in all these statements and all these reports. We've seen it many, many times. That is the officer turning himself into a drug dog to manufacture reasonable suspicion to search. Okay? Actually, there's one cop in an area that I cover, and every single stop. I mean, I can't say every stop because I'm not there for every stop, but always seems to smell marijuana. Frankly, it makes you wonder if he snorts the shit. Snorts a little bit, they can walk around and say he smelled marijuana all day. I don't know. But every stop smells marijuana, he wants to search that car. Now, again, manufacturing reasonable suspicion. I'm actually thinking about doing a sunshine request and getting all of his videos for all of his stops for the past year. And making a list and marking down every time he smells marijuana in a car, and then doing a corresponding list for every time he's wrong and doesn't find any marijuana in the car. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. Then we could use it against him every time he testifies. He smells marijuana because he's not very reliable. So anyway, here's the deal. If a cop stops you, claims he smells marijuana, whether there is marijuana, was marijuana, he smells marijuana, or he's just lying, he's going to search the car. Okay, you can't stop him from searching the car if the police officer claims they have a reasonable suspicion they're going to search it. Never consent. Okay? So, on the street, you can't physically stop the officer from searching your car. But don't consent. Don't say, I guess so. If the officer says, can I search your car? The answer isn't, whatever, man. That's consent. The answer isn't, well, aren't you going to anyway? Now, the answer is no. I don't consent to any searches. Okay? Practice it. No, I don't consent to any searches. That's it. No, I don't consent to any searches. We did what to do if you get stopped. The officer comes up to you while you're at your car, and he starts talking to you. License, registration, tries to engage in small talk. Don't engage in the small talk. Give him the license, give him the registration. He asks you another question. Answer the question. Why did you stop me, officer? You know how fast you're going? Why did you stop me, officer? Where are you going? Is there anything else I can help you with? Yeah, I asked you a question. Where are you going? Officer, I'm not going to discuss my day. If you're going to write me a ticket, please do so. Let's be on our way. or am I free to go now? Okay? Don't give me anything to work with. Now, you're going to get a ticket. If you take that approach, you're getting a ticket. You're probably going to get a ticket anyway. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. It's a whole hell of a lot easier to talk your way into a ticket than out of one. So, I smell weed in your car. You know, that's good for a search almost anywhere in the country. I don't know of a place where that's not going to be good for a search. But that's changing. And here's why. For example, in Missouri, we're bordered on 3 sides by medical marijuana states. Okay, you got Illinois, you got Iowa, you got Arkansas. Okay, these states have marijuana. If you are in a border area, the smell of marijuana alone may not be enough to get the officer in that car. Now, this is a legal argument. Okay, this isn't something you're going to do on the side of the road. This is something you're going to discuss, and your attorney hopefully will be up on it and pay attention to it. But the legal argument is the smell of marijuana is not indicative of criminal wrongdoing anymore. If that vehicle had been, say, I'm in Missouri, if that vehicle had been in Illinois, and someone in Illinois had medical marijuana, they had the substance in the car, the question is going to be, was that smell a burned smell or an unburned smell? You know, the officers never make that distinction in their reports because it's different. Burned marijuana is indicative of prior use, not current possession. If they're smelling burned marijuana, somebody already done got stoned. The evidence is gone. If they're smelling raw marijuana, well, first, that's a smell that lingers. The smell of raw marijuana will last for a little while. It's in the oils, okay? That oil gets on something in your vehicle, and the smell will last for a little while. I mean, hell, it's not even a bad smell. But it lasts. Now, if you smoke marijuana, you use marijuana, you're around it, you're going to become nose blind to it. It may not be a big smell for you, but for someone who doesn't deal with it on a regular basis, it's going to be pungent, it's going to be there, and they're going to know it. Again, the officer claims he smells marijuana. He may very well smell marijuana. That doesn't mean there was marijuana in the car at that time. So, without additional questioning by the officer prior to starting the search, that search may not be any good unless you consent. I do not consent to any searches. Even if you're not asked, say it. I do not consent to any searches. He's going to search anyway if he thinks he's got cause. So, the additional questions I'm talking about for a vehicle in Missouri, say perhaps that vehicle has an Illinois license plate. Does anyone in the car have an Illinois medical marijuana card? Okay. Has anyone been in the car that has a medical marijuana card? Has anybody transported marijuana legally in Illinois in this car? These are some qualifying questions. If the answer is yes to those, then there's going to be additional follow-ups. How long ago? Do you have any in the vehicle now? If the person says no, now the officer's got a tough spot. But how long ago? Well, yeah, just this morning. My buddy picked some up at the dispensary and went home. I gave him a ride. Okay. Is it possible that some of that may have fallen out into the car? The officer may ask qualifying questions. First, remember, we're talking about what some of the answers might be to those questions. I am not advising that you answer the damn things. Don't discuss your day. Don't give the officer the probable cause he doesn't have. Without follow-up questions, smell of marijuana alone is not indicative of a crime. If the officer asks, do you have any marijuana in the car? And you say no, it's kind of in a spot. If you say, yeah, I got 3 keys in the trunk, you're going to prison, shithead. Don't do it. Don't engage in these conversations. It's that simple. You have to give the officer your license and registration. You have to. You got to identify yourself if you're driving a car and you're stopped. Okay? You don't have to get into a discussion of, where you were 3 minutes before 5 minutes ago and play 20 questions. You don't have to do that. So if the officer starts engaging in a lot of questions, says he pulled you over because you had a light out on your license plate lamp, yeah, they stop people for that all the time. And we're watching the video, person turns the car off, the license plate lamp goes out. Amazing. But, the license plate lamp. Okay. Where you were 20 minutes ago has nothing to do with the license plate lamp. Don't answer the questions. Or if the officer asks you a question like that, just say, I'm sorry, what does that have to do with the license plate lamp being out? That was why you stopped me, right? And the officer will say yes, no, or most likely, I'm not here to answer your questions. What were you doing? Again, don't do it. Just say, look, write the ticket you're going to write me, if you're going to write me, and we'll both be on our way, unless I'm free to go now. Okay? An interesting point here is passengers, and this is something that seems to come up a lot too. The officer stops the vehicle, talks to the driver, separates the driver, says, you know what? I detected the odor of marijuana. So I asked the driver back to my cruiser, sat him down in the cruiser, and talked to him. The odor of marijuana was faint. So the officer left that guy in the cruiser, went up, talked to the passenger. Here's the trick. If you're the passenger, and a police officer is wanting to talk to you, the traffic stop is because of something the driver did, equipment, speeding, failed to stop, a rolling stop sign, something like that, shut up. If the officer wants to talk to you, just, I'm not interested in talking, thank you. If the officer wants to see your ID, I'm sorry, I thought this was a traffic stop. I'm a passenger. Are you suspecting me of doing something wrong? And the officer's going to have to say yes or no. Or more likely, he's going to say, what are you, a lawyer? Give me your ID. Again, this is kind of up to you. Really, the law says that the police officer has to have a reasonable and articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed, is being committed, or is about to be committed by you. Now, the law doesn't say the officer has to tell you what his reasonable articulable suspicion is. So, well, yes, you can ask that question. The officer doesn't have to answer it. And that puts you in an awkward spot. Again, protecting your rights, unfortunately, usually means you're defending them in court. On the street, if you refuse to give the cop your name, your ID, or tell him who you are, there's a very real chance that he's going to take you to jail. He'll be wrong. I have no doubt that, that's going to be a problem. If he takes you to jail for that in the process of searching you subsequent to arrest for not providing your ID when he had no reasonable articulable suspicion that he needed your ID, okay? The same thing with an illegal search. Cop, I smell marijuana. Okay, doesn't ask qualifying questions on the smell of marijuana. And this isn't codified in law. And frankly, we don't even have court opinions for this. This is where I believe the law is going to go. Without qualifying questions, the smell of marijuana is going to cease to be PC for a search. It's going to stop meeting that requirement. And here's why. Because Missouri is now a medical marijuana state. We're surrounded by medical marijuana states. There are many reasons a person could legally have marijuana in their car. Smell of marijuana alone is not going to be indicative that a crime is afoot. So, they'll have to ask qualifying questions, or likely searches are going to start being suppressed. Now, the timing for that isn't right, because you can't buy legal medical marijuana in the state of Missouri yet. You can in Illinois. You can in Iowa. And I believe you can in Arkansas, if you can tolerate going to Arkansas. I jest, it's a nice place, but it's got that K word in it. They really need to rename that state. So when you're looking at that, understand, as a passenger, you've got the right to challenge grounds for a stop. So if they search you without cause, they haul you out of the car, search you, they find your pipe, they find your meth, they find your cocaine, they find the body of a varsity cheerleader, anything you happen to be carrying around. A lot of that stuff might get suppressed by your lawyer during the suppression hearing. So, if the police say they smell weed, they're going to search. Understand that. They're going to search. They don't need your consent if they have grounds to search. One of the exceptions to warrant requirement is a vehicle. A vehicle, as long as they have reasonable suspicion, they're not going to need a warrant. They take advantage of that. That's a fact. It sucks. That's the law. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is. But there are limits to that, and they're going to have to be able to justify that when your lawyer gets a hold of it. So, stop talking to the police. Don't answer questions without my attorney. Say it. I don't answer questions without my attorney. I don't consent to any searches. I want my lawyer. Am I detained or am I free to go? I want my lawyer. If police smell weed in your car, they can search it. They're going to search it. I expect that's going to change, and it should already be changes developing, especially in border areas of Missouri, where we border medical marijuana states like Iowa, Illinois, Arkansas. I think there are some great challenges there that are going to come up. And that said, you can't physically stop them. If they're going to search, they're going to do it. Don't consent to any searches. Don't answer any questions and give them, the grounds to search.